I don't know if anyone else feels this, but I feel like summer's almost kind of dying down. Like after 4th of July hits, it seems to slow down. Like for example, at work right now, we're really slow just because there's not that many orientation groups going around campus. I don't know, maybe you're doing something more fun than me? But because I feel like everything is slowing down and kind of becoming more school oriented, which I know, I don't want to hear it either. Which means I've been watching a lot of Netflix, which means I've also been binging a lot of shows. So I keep on trying to find these new shows or shows that I want to watch that everyone watches, of course. So what I decided to do in today's vlog is to make a list of about 10 shows that I really like on Netflix that maybe you have seen or maybe you haven't. I know a lot of them are like really popular and almost everyone has seen them, but it's still worth talking about in case you haven't seen them. And when I go through the list, I'm gonna try to give like a little review or a little explanation about why I like the show. And trust me, I could go on for hours upon hours because every TV show on this list I absolutely adore and can watch about 10 times through. Also, hi, did you see my new room? The lights in the back and then the picture over here. But an official tour will be coming soon in a later video. But I wanted to give you a little hint of what's to come. So I think one of the most popular ones on this list is number 1, which is Black Mirror. Now I know you've heard about it probably all over. They just came out with a new season like a couple weeks ago, which I watched the first day. But if you haven't watched it or have been hesitant to watch it, because I know some people say it's like really creepy and really weird, I kind of like that stuff and I don't think it's too weird compared to some of the other shows that are on Netflix or even out there today. But if you don't know, Black Mirror kind of takes the Twilight Zone type of aspect in TV show and brings it more into the modern age with technology and how even in the future it will affect us or can affect us. And it does this with each episode by making it seem like it takes place today or somewhere in the near future, just with different technology. And it does it so well that you kind of think, oh, this might happen today, or I wonder what would happen if this was a real technology that we had. And what I really love about it is it kind of blurs the lines between television show and reality, and some of the episodes even feel like they're happening right now in the world, which is really cool. So if you haven't checked it out, or if you haven't checked it out recently, definitely do that. And kind of building off the futuristic kind of dystopian TV shows, the next one is The Society. It came out really recently, like I think only this year it came out, and it only has 1 season, but it did just get confirmed for a 2nd season, which I'm so excited about. If you haven't heard of it, because I know it's kind of a hidden gem at this point, but The Society takes the kind of dystopian future where every single kid is put into a society in which they have to like fend for themselves and basically create a new government, but it takes it one step further by not telling why they're there, how they got there. So in this new society, it's only the kids who went to high school in the past town, and there seems to be no reason as to why they're there or why they can't connect with anyone from like the outside world or the past world. It's a whole jumble of things and it really doesn't get explained, but it's really good. But I find it really interesting that it really dives into the concept about if high schoolers were in charge or if teenagers were in charge, what would be the first steps of what they would do, what type of things would they do, what drama would ensue. So it's a really, really good show. The next one on my list is a little more raunchy, so if you live with your parents or anything like that, if you don't want someone seeing you watching the show, because it can be raunchy at times, definitely keep that in mind. But it's Sex Education. It is a UK-based Netflix original that came out last year, I'm pretty sure. And as the title suggests, it's all about sex education or sex therapy. The show follows around 5 or 6 high schoolers kind of going through their lives. The main character, Otis, is the son of a sex therapist. That's really all I can say. It's a really funny, really good show, but it's a really funny, really good show. Check it out. The next 2 on my list, other than Friends, I think are probably the most talked about and most binge shows on Netflix, and they are The Office and Parks and Rec. I tried to make these 2 separate, but I really couldn't. I really love The Office, as you know from a past video. So I definitely wanted to put it on this list somewhere. And for Parks and Rec, I discovered it more recently, probably like 1 or 2 years ago. I've watched it only a handful of times all the way through, but I really think they're two really good comedies on Netflix. Of course, Friends is up there. I just never really got into Friends. I'm watching it currently, so maybe that'll be on my next list if I do one. But if you haven't checked out The Office or Parks and Rec, it kind of deals with like the mockumentary style of TV, where a camera crew actually follows the actors or the people within the show, and the people or the actors know that the cameras are there, so they'll talk to the cameras, they'll look at the cameras. It was really popular at the time of their releases, and I think it still is today, but these are the first ones that did it well, and I think really well. So if you haven't checked out these, I know a million people have because they're so popular on Netflix and they're one of the most like binge shows, but if you haven't or you need to rewatch it because they're great, definitely do so. The next one on the list is very timely because I think the new season's coming out July 19th, and it's also very personal to me, and that is Queer Eye. Now this show is just amazing. That's all I can really say about the show, just because I love watching it. It makes me feel amazing after watching it. It makes me want to change about every aspect of my life, but in a good way. If you haven't heard of the show or seen the show, it's a revamp of an older show. I think it came out in like around 2003 or 4. So the original Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, when it came out, it dealt with 5 gay guys going around the country helping straight men revamp their lives and kind of get their lives back on track. But in this newer version of Queer Eye, there's 5 gay guys still. They focus more on a wide variety of people and experiences rather than just a straight male. They've done a transgender person, they've done lesbian people of color, they've done so many people that kind of break the barrier of just the straight guy getting help from gay guys. And I know in the new season 2 they're gonna do a disabled man, they're gonna do like a farmer, so they're really just trying to get every single person an experience that they can, which makes the show even more awesome because they're trying to shed a light on all these people who think maybe, oh well, I can't live this better life or I can't achieve this because of X, Y, and Z, but they can, and it's such a good show and such an important show. Definitely check it out. The next show is also one of the most talked about shows on Netflix. I know it just came out with a brand new season, so everyone is jumping on that hype train if they haven't already. So I'm sure you've already heard of it, but the next one is Stranger Things. Stranger Things is more kind of a weird sci-fi type show, so it's definitely not for everyone, but it's definitely worth checking out. I know I was hesitant at first because if you know me, I don't like horror movies or like anything scary. And when I asked people about it, they told me, oh my gosh, it's really scary, like really horrifying, don't watch it if you don't like that type of stuff. But I would say it's not really more scary than like the jump scare or like the suspense building. It's more just like a thriller with some like gross, abject elements of it. So if you like the more thriller aspect of it and not so much like the jump scare in your face horror, you should definitely check it out because once I did, I fell in love. My wallpaper on my phone is currently Stranger Things since it did just come out. I'm obsessed with the show right now. Waiting for season 4. When's it gonna come? On an opposite note of kind of the horror genre, the next one is The Good Place, or The Good Place. The Good Place. This one I would say out of all the comedies on Netflix is a little more hidden, but I know it's really popular for people who have watched it. It deals with the one main character dying and going into the good place. They don't call it heaven or hell or anything like that. It's the good place and the bad place. So she gets into the good place and it kind of follows her journey going throughout the good place and seeing who belongs, who doesn't belong, if there's actually like an afterlife or anything like that. Now, although it does deal with like religion and all that kind of stuff, it does it in a really funny way. And I think it's one of the only shows that does it in such a comedic and well way. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely do. I know there's 2 seasons on Netflix right now. I think there's gonna be a 3rd because I know the 3rd aired on TV, but of course with Netflix it takes a little bit of time before they can get the rights to it and put it on Netflix, but hopefully it's coming soon. Okay, another double on this list. I know you're getting more than 10, it's great, but the next 2 are Atypical and Special. Atypical I watched first because it came out first, so Atypical is what I'm going to talk about first, and it follows a teenager named Sam who's on the autism spectrum and how he kind of navigates life and work and school and relationships along with his family, and it kind of has subplots with his family, which I love in a show. I don't like focusing on just one character and doing that and then focusing on another character and doing that. They all kind of blend together and connect in such a way that's really cool. and it deals with something that's not really talked about in media today, which is really important too, is disability or people with disabilities. This show more opens up the conversation to have more people with disabilities on TV and on film, which is of course really important for me to see myself on these type of shows and movies. But it still does it in a lighthearted and comedic way, which also is what Special does. Special is fairly new, and it's a short, limited series on Netflix. It's a Netflix original, but it follows the life of Ryan, which, you know. And he is a gay man with CP, and it also follows him kind of going through life and work and relationships, but it checks so many boxes of people's experiences. And when I first watched it, it was kind of scary seeing all the parallels, like, his name is Ryan Hayes, my name is Ryan Haynes, he's a gay man, I'm a gay man, we both have disabilities. It's just really weird to see all that in a show. So the next one is a really, really dark, kind of creepy show, I think even more than Stranger Things, because it's so real and based in reality, which is You. Now I'm not talking about you and the camera watching this, I'm talking about YOU. Now the show You follows this guy working at a bookstore who meets a girl. It's kind of the typical guy meets girl, but it flips it on its head and kind of making it the guy stalks girl. It sounds really weird, and I promise it is really weird, but it's really, really good. If you like the type of like thriller or like Black Mirror, Stranger Things type of aesthetic and kind of storyline, you'll really like You. Okay, we made it to the final one, which I know is super hidden on Netflix. Not a lot of people know about it, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I know there's a second season coming this month, and it's Workin' Moms. Now, Workin' Moms follows the life of I think like 5 or 6 moms who just had a child and going through that experience of having a child, working, dealing with husbands, dealing with partners, dealing with everything that comes with having a newborn baby. And it's really well done. Even though I don't have any of those experiences, I felt the frustration of the women and of the people going through this, and it deals with a lot of issues, not only with childbirth, but a lot of women's issues, and so it's a really important and really well done show, not to mention hilarious. I'm excited to see what they do with the second season, because I know the first season kind of ended on a cliffhanger and kind of wanting more, and I definitely want more. So I'm glad they're making a second season, so if you haven't checked it out, make sure to do. And on that note, check out all these shows. Let me know any shows that you watch that I haven't seen. Also let me know if you want me to do this with Hulu or Netflix movies, or just movies in general, or TV shows in general. I really like doing this, especially because of my major and because of what I'm studying. So definitely let me know if you want more of these videos. Alright, I'm gonna go watch more Netflix because of course, you can never watch too much. I'll see you later, Rams.